Ladies and gentlemen.
Hello and welcome to this week's podcast. Slightly late than normal. Later than normal, should I say.
Yeah, so, do you want to explain to the viewers why that is?
Well, I was at a festival for the last 4 days, which was fantastic. But it also means that I am pretty broken. And you should probably hear I'm a little bit hoarse just from various shouting and also it being very hot, so meaning lots of dust, which is not really good for your voice after a few days.
You know what's positive?
What's that?
Fortunately, your job doesn't rely on any of those things.
Well, I'm sure my voice will be fine. It just needs, probably a day where I'm not inhaling dust.
So, yeah. So, pretty much we don't want to send you to like a 1900s coal mine would be an ideal situation.
Well, just don't send me to another festival for a while,
Are you sure that that's the course of action you'd like to go for?
Well, no, I mean, if I had my way, then, I'd just be still at the festival right now. But sadly, everything must come to an end.
Everyone else would want to be leaving, but I just got this like idea of like this horror movie. So like you're the antagonist, and your wish is like keeping everyone else trapped in this festival, doomed to keep repeating the day over and over and over again. The bands are just like dying on the stage because they keep needing to play, like they're like these puppets of flesh.
I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I think you're taking this little daydream a bit far.
I think it's fine.
In reality, after a while, you just kind of want a real bed and hot water and a toilet that isn't a portaloo, to be honest. No, the weekend was excellent. I may or may not do a video about the stuff that I bought, if I can be bothered. But yeah, it was good.
Okay.
So, naturally, I haven't played many games.
I was going to say, you've not really been playing much
No,
games.
and to my surprise, there was no one at the site playing Pokemon Go. I genuinely expected to see people like, oh, you can get your Pokemon at a festival, but there was no signal, so it's fine.
That life has a positive.
I know. I was like, oh god, there's people walking around trying to catch Pokemon Go at a festival, and they should be watching the bands. Oh god, but no, it's fine. It's alright.
Yeah.
I did play a few things before I left, but I kind of talked about them last week, so there we go.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Having a lot less fun than you.
Yeah, well, to be fair, everyone who wasn't at the festival was having a lot less fun than me.
Well, not just that, I had a deep tissue massage.
How would you describe that? From 0 being would not recommend to 10 being would recommend. How would you rate it?
It depends on your perspective.
Okay.
So, if you're talking from a mobility standpoint...
Yeah, okay. Being able to move is a good... I mean, at the moment, my left knee is balked and my feet feel like they've been driven over with a steamroller. So I get that.
Yeah, so the positive was that. The bad side is that basically it was not a pleasant experience. Like, I've got a high pain tolerance.
Yes.
But Jesus Christ, that was one of the most unpleasant experiences. Like, when she went to my shoulder and... I could actually hear it sound like popcorn.
Oh god,
and it was like this.
Your shoulders shouldn't make those sounds.
And when she went into my glutes, the pain just shot all the way down my leg. And so that wasn't an ideal experience. So basically, I've been doing a lot of mobility work over the last couple of days.
Right.
To get my glutes firing properly. And basically, she said that my adductors were really tight and my abductors were not, and the abductors are basically on the outer suite of your leg.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially what I'm trying to do is because I did some research on my own behalf,
right,
and asked Stephen, who's a personal trainer, some suggestions, and basically he said that there's a good possibility that my adductors have been slightly underdeveloped. So basically I'm targeting that and lifting about 30% of my normal weight, which is not fun.
Which must make you happy.
It's really annoying to be benching like 60 kg. That really saddens me on every level. You don't understand. I was like, I want to do pull-ups, and then I did like 20, and I was like, I need to stop. But aside from that, I've just been really busy with the channel. I've finished the video editing. I'll show you actually before I export the video regarding the GTX 1070 things. I'm pretty damn happy with how I postulated and capitulated
I look forward to seeing it.
Yeah.
They should just export it and then show me, but never mind.
Well, to be fair, I need to add the audio in and finish that off.
On the topic, very briefly, of working out and muscles and things.
Yes.
Well, they admired my guns. So I was like, oh, they were like, yeah, I've been at the gym. It was like, oh yeah, it's like, did the thing, and they were all just there like, it's fucking insane. I was like, stop it.
You're like, oh, stop it.
Stop it.
Yeah.
This guy was like rail thin, like no muscle on him at all. Was like, yeah, I've got something that's like this. He did have some, to be fair, but it's just like this tiny little sort of like mild rise.
Yeah, you've got some. You can move your arms.
Yeah,
so
you've got enough muscle so that you can move your body around.
It's a pipe cleaner, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, at the moment I'm just trying to hold my weight as is for the next couple of weeks.
Well, yeah. Now that I'm back, I'm gonna eat as much green as possible.
Yeah, you're basically gonna be a cow for the next couple.
It's like, oh my god, fresh things.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like when you get away from that, I really don't like not eating clean. That's the problem.
I did my best and hit the healthiest stalls, but we still are talking about a festival with limited options, and even the healthier options are not particularly healthy. Not really.
I've been really bad. I've been good and bad at the same time because I've been kind of boring, but I've regimented my food, so it's always the same things. It's like oatmeal, and then one meal of like chicken with rice, and another one with this with loads of veg. So yeah, but aside from that, I've been gaming a little bit.
Cool. What have you been playing?
Almost at the end of I Am Setsuna.
Sweet.
Basically just got a few last bosses left. And what else? I have been doing a little bit of retro gaming, but not anything extravagant.
Well, give us an example.
I've been primarily just blasting a little bit of the Sega Genesis collection.
Right.
And that's about it. But I'm kind of thinking, at the moment I've got this this hankering to play a lot of retro games. So I'll probably start doing a little bit more of that because I'm really enjoying the retro type of experiences. I think it's quite nice to see where we've come from.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Sometimes it is nice to replay those classics, though sometimes you'll play a game that you loved when you were a kid, and then as an adult, and obviously because we play a lot of games and we think about them critically as well, we'd be like, this is awful. How did I ever like this?
I was actually thinking from a logical point of view what my favourite console ever was.
Okay.
And I think I've narrowed it down to 3 so far, and I can't figure out which one is my preferred choice.
Right.
It's either the Genesis combined with Sega CD,
okay,
the Sega Saturn, or the PlayStation 1. Now, I know what you're going to say, but they're a very narrow time period. I'd agree. However, I think the reason I really like all of the systems is because after that, I got very much more into PC gaming.
Yeah.
So, for me, they were the pinnacle of console gaming because the games were simple, but they were so fun. Like, games like Shinobi and Streets of Rage and Sonic, they exemplified what a console should be. And then when we got into the Sega Saturn, I remember games like Panzer Saga, which I've got a copy of, which obviously is a ridiculously expensive game now, and Shine in the Holy Ark and Guardian Heroes, and those type of games were like, they felt like not just a leap compared to what we had, but they felt like an oh my god, this is ridiculous. And the reason for the PlayStation is not because I felt it was revolutionary compared to Saturn, but I felt it was a very different gaming experience. I think both. I honestly feel that the PlayStation deserved to win the console generation, but I feel Sega screwed themselves in the console generation. So I feel that Sony didn't deserve to win in terms of what they did. I feel Sega lost because of what they did, if that makes any sense.
It's funny how that works and how people have yet to learn from that mistake, considering Nintendo did it themselves with the Wii U, and obviously Don Matrick did his best to lampoon the Xbox One at the start.
Yeah, it's like, for example, at the moment, Nintendo are pissing off people because they've been DMCAing loads of channels for uploading music.
They just took down Pokemon Uranium version, which is this huge version, unofficial, obviously.
And they did it through another Metroid.
Yeah, I saw that, but Uranium version is literally like a fan-made game where like there's like a sort of radioactive subtype of Pokemon. It has like its own storyline and own Pokemon and all this other stuff, and it's just gone. You can't get it anymore.
Well, you can get it from other means.
Well, no, they're apparently you can't download it anymore. It's gone. But they have said like if you already have it, it's fine. We'll keep updating the game, but you cannot get hold of it if you don't already have it.
Well, you probably have to get it from various.
I'm sure people
websites.
will do their best to put it out there, but you know, Nintendo seem to be pretty aggressively like making sure this thing doesn't exist. And I was just thinking, like, what harm is it doing?
You know
it's
what?
not like it's like Pokemon Porn Simulator. Do you know what I mean?
The problem is that people always keep saying that you have to actively protect your IP, but that's not always the case. And the problem I've got with Nintendo, there's two problems I've got with Nintendo. All right, so this is completely off topic, but I've got two problems. One, Nintendo are dicks. So here's why I say that. One, they didn't have to let the person go through all the effort of actually releasing.
Well, I think they only just realised that this is a thing.
Yeah, but it's like if you've done that, what they should have done is they should have just said, look, you shouldn't have done this. What we'll do is we'll license the game so you can actually have it. And that's what Valve did. Like, Valve, even Sega have actually been a lot better. Like, Sega were dicks. I used to be a massive Sega fanboy, but I admit, I mean, look what they did to TB. They almost took down his channel.
I know. To be fair, that was Sega of Japan, but still.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant. To me, Sega of Japan, Sega Europe, it's all the same. You represent a company. But recently, Sega have been a lot better. Like, they've actually been hiring people who have been doing fan-made projects. And to be fair, it took Sega a lot of years to not be dicks. But now, Nintendo are just being complete dicks. Like, they've taken down channels who have been uploading audio, but there's no way to buy those audio tracks unless you import them specifically from Japan and jump through hoops, because they're limited editions anyway. So it's like, you're deleting and nuking people who are uploading content of audio, but there's no other way to get that audio. You can't buy it legally unless you jump through so many different hoops and get limited edition in most cases. So it's like, okay, if you want to take down channels who are uploading the entire audio collection and you're selling it on like iTunes or whatever for like 99 pence, I would 100% be okay with that.
Yeah.
But when you're doing it in my opinion, a pretty scummy manner, and the other issue I've got with Nintendo is that they're doing it, but there's no... Nintendo don't say anything. They're one of those companies where they just remain silent. And so you're trying to reach out to them, and most of the time they're not willing to compromise or talk to you. And their inability to communicate with fans, in my opinion, is really harmful. It fosters a lot of toxicity.
Well, the thing is, with Nintendo is, like, I understand you have to protect your IP, and if someone is infringing on your trademark or whatever, you have to protect it. I get that.
Yeah, but you know
what?
The line... There was an actual argument.
Yeah.
You can check this out on Wikipedia, but there are other sources as well. Just because you're not actively protecting your IP...
If you don't protect the trademark, you lose it.
But
that is not the same as copyright.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Because in grey areas, like, you don't have to actively protect as long as what you do is you ensure that you contact the person and you basically push. So, for example, they could have simply contacted the company.
Yeah, you don't have to go straight to a DMCA, but you have to contact them and say, look, could you take this down because X, Y, and Z or whatever.
Or what they could have even done is they could have contacted the company and say, look, we don't want you to do this. We can license it. So they could have just simply said, look, you can say that with permission of Nintendo.
Yeah,
that's all they had to do, and they don't have to be dicks about it. They could have taken it down for a couple of days, and then they could have said something along the lines of produced with permission of Nintendo, and it would have been okay. But rather than that, they just go shut down the projects, and they've done it for another Metro. It just annoys me.
It's not only that. It's like, in my opinion, if the people making the fan-made projects are not making any money and are not using, like, you know, making games about where, you know, established as a porn star or whatever, then just leave it alone, because, like, you know, they've done stuff like this before. Where a while ago I did a couple of videos on this. There's this guy been running this unofficial Pokemon party somewhere in America. I forget where off the top of my head, and he was not making any money. Like, he charged for tickets, but literally was to pay for like the DJs and the venue and everything else that he got for this party, he made no money at all because he charged like £5 for a ticket, and everything he made just went into costs. And yet Nintendo literally took him to court over this, and I'm just like, this guy's not making any profit from you. If anything, he's doing you a favour by, you know, increasing the awareness of your brand by like, oh, this is really cool Pokemon party that has DJs and blah 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 blah. Let's go check it out. And now they hear, oh, we can't because Nintendo shut it down. That does not make you look good.
See, this is the issue I've got with Nintendo. Like, I've got problems with all companies. Like, no company is 100% perfect. Like, Sony have done some dickish stuff. Microsoft have done dickish stuff. EA have done loads of dickish stuff. Even Valve are not perfect. But the issue I've got is like look at Valve with how they handled Dota, Counter-Strike. A lot of these games started as mods.
Yeah.
And if they, even Blizzard, like, they were dicks when they shut down the Nostradamus or whatever. I can't remember. I had issues with it because it was how it was handled.
And they're working with them to maybe get that sorted out.
Yeah, exactly. So now they might be, because of fan pressure. And it's quite funny because ex-developers from Blizzard themselves had actually gone on record and said, look, what harm is this doing? You need, the fans want this, and you're refusing to do it. So anyway, we're getting way off topic.
Yeah, we went on a bit of a massive tangent there. So obviously I've been away for a few days, so why don't you just choose our topics today?
Okay.
So take the lead then, please.
Okay. So I guess we might as well start with the Neo-y thing.
Sure.
So basically, the rumour has it, and this, I can't remember the individual's name, but I've shown it several times in videos now, so it's fine. He's from NeoGAF, and basically he's an ex-Sony employee, so he used to develop for Sony, and now he's working for other studios.
Right.
So basically, the rumour has it that he's heard that Sony first-party studios, so this isn't the Ubisofts, this is the, you know, the Guerrilla Games.
Santa Monica and...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They have actually gone to Sony after they've seen the Neo, and they've said, yeah, this isn't good enough, we don't have enough memory. And they've actually said to because Sony want, obviously, developers to put games at like 1440p as a minimum, but really they want you to push more towards like 1800p, right?
Yeah.
But developers have supposedly, behind the scenes, said that this is not enough memory. So the Neo only has an extra 512 megabytes available. So the actual amount of memory soldered onto the board is exactly the same.
Yeah.
They've just allocated more from the system reserve. So it's 5.5 gigs rather than 5. So basically, the rumour has it that Sony have received some pressure to increase the specs of the Neo. We only know about memory, potentially, but it could be something else. But, so the rumour has it that, and no one obviously knows whether that's going to happen. The issue is, at this point, the Neo is so close to release. So, I mean, it's not inconceivable they could solder. I mean,
when you say that, they haven't given a release window or anything while I've been gone.
The rumour has it, and there's several reports now that it's going to be November.
Not buying it, but okay.
Well, that's why the PlayStation event is supposedly happening now.
Yeah, yeah, but like, okay, let's say they do the announcement. They announce it tomorrow just for the sake of argument, and it comes out in November. No.
Well, it's either that or they release it in. I mean, the problem is if you keep waiting, the earliest you could then release it is like March.
Just do March. That gives people way more time than this is out in like 2 months.
The issue with March is then they've got two choices. One, they could have a major spec upgrade. Potentially, they would have to, because otherwise people are going to immediately associate the fact that the Scorpio's released 6 months later-ish. And
people don't going to compare it to Scorpio no matter what they do.
Yeah, but there's a difference. If you're ahead in the market and you can demonstrate that there's a reason to upgrade.
It doesn't seem like long enough time to generate hype.
Hey, that's
marketing.
what the rumours are.
I know. I'm just saying. The reason I don't think it's true is for these.
The reason I think it is true, and this is one of the main reasons. One, the final development kits, the final versions of the development kits, are supposedly going to be in the hands of developers over the next month or so, with the final testing kits available at some point in October.
Yeah, so if the dev kits are only just going out to devs in a month's time, there's not going to be any games for it if it comes out in November.
Well, they've been working on it for ages.
I don't know. Last time they revealed it at E3,
and remember,
it came out that Christmas, and Scorpio was announced at E3. It's not even out till next Christmas.
Yeah, but...
And yet Sony are going to announce it basically now, and it's coming out in 2 months?
Well, that's what... It's not November. It's not November now.
Okay, it's August.
September, October, November.
Yeah, so 2-3 months, depending on when in November it is.
Well, it's going to be... Look, it's August now, right? August, September, October, November.
You can't count August when it's basically almost over. It's like 2 weeks left.
We don't know when in November. It could
That's
be
why I just said 2 to 3 months, depending on when it's
3
November.
to 4.
Either way, it's not enough time.
It depends.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm just saying that it just doesn't seem all that likely.
My personal opinion is it's either going to be November or it's going to be March, because it can't be February, because no one's going to be buying in February because you're just financially crippled.
Well, yeah, I was going to say that they're not going to do February.
The only reason I've got against November, and this talks into Final Fantasy as well, is let's say they've delayed Final Fantasy into...
we'll get to that later, yeah.
Yeah. The problem is, it's like... There are so many bloody games at that point.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to compete with, like, the big game releases. They're basically competing with themselves in a way.
Yeah.
Because there's no way you're going to be able to afford a Neo and a game when you've got to buy Christmas presents for other people and everything else. And you maybe buy a game for yourself, like Call of Duty or Battlefield 1 or Titanfall 2 or whatever.
Yeah, but then that's the same for all console releases. And realistically... I don't think Sony are expecting people to rush out and buy it then. And the other thing is, they supposedly want the system out, and this is other rumours, around the same time as PSVR. One rumour I heard, although I didn't report on because the rumour was very unsubstantiated, was that, you know how you have the PSVR experience?
Yeah.
From what I've heard, the games look basic on the regular PS4 compared to the Neo.
Okay.
So basically, you can almost say that to get the best experience, to get the true experience, you need a Neo. That's what one report I'm having, because of the performance difference between them. Now, I don't know whether that's true, and I don't want to report on it because the rumour is very unsubstantiated. However, logically, if you think about it...
I mean, it would make sense just from a performance perspective, but I guess we'll have to see. I mean, upgraded Neo because developers complained. Sounds good to me.
Anyway, let's talk about the next thing, shall we?
Sure.
NX patents.
Okay.
Okay. So, there are patents floating about the internet, which I did a video on yesterday. If you need images, you can check the video. I've put them in there. So, basically, what the patent shows... In your mind, imagine a Lego brick. Right? Are you imagining a Lego brick with hollow?
Right.
Right. Now, in your mind, turn the Lego brick into, for example, a D-pad.
Okay.
So it's it's a D-pad shaped like a Lego brick. Right?
Right.
It's a Lego brick shaped like a D-pad. You got that in your mind?
Right. Okay.
Right. Now, imagine that in a reflective surface.
What do you mean reflective?
So it's got a shiny surface on the inside, so it reflects infrared.
Right.
Okay? And then imagine that strapped basically to the NX. And that's what they're patenting. What they're saying, from what we can read through the patent, is the device, right? The controller itself will be configurable. So, for example, that D-pad, it could turn into buttons, it could turn into analog sticks, because there's no actual inner workings. It's literally just shaped, and the actual surface itself is reflective. And it's actually kind of a cool idea, because what it allows is the infrared camera to be configurable with these clip-on devices, to allow you to basically have any method of control, theoretically.
So, an Xbox Elite controller kind of arrangement where you can move things around and...
Yeah, in a way, but obviously very different. And the infrared control, supposedly the camera, also functions without that. So, for example, it could start doing facial recognition or gesture recognition. And now, my concerns obviously are like accuracy and how well it works in practice. because theory and practice are two different things. But
yeah, I mean, it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, the NX continues to just come up with weird stuff every now and again.
The problem that I've got with the NX, and this is going to hark back to what I said, I really want Nintendo to succeed because I want competition.
Yeah.
But then I also want them to fail because they're dicks.
I know what you mean.
It's like, I really want them... I don't have anything against them in terms of, like, them as people. And, I think it's not really... I don't feel it's actually the top brass that are the problem, like Reggie and co. I actually think it's a lot of their legal team. And I feel that a lot of them, they just need to kind of...
they're not with the times at all. Like,
no.
They are... Most companies, even like ones like Capcom and stuff...
They've got a lot better.
They hired those guys who are working on an unofficial Resident Evil 2 remake to help them make the official Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah.
So obviously the remake they were working on is gone, but instead of just like cease and desisting and that's it, they're like, yeah, stop making that, but come and help us make the real one.
Exactly.
And that's like, okay, that's what Nintendo should be doing with this Metroid person. It's not like taking them to court or whatever. Just be like, okay, you've got some good ideas, come and work for us. Help us make the new Metroid game.
It's even simple things like Nintendo. They still, despite the fact people have asked them and asked them and asked them and asked them, very simple question: why are you deleting Mario levels? You know, the custom ones. They have not responded, and it's like, okay, you're going to delete the level, but why? People had started to speculate because the levels weren't popular, but then it was some of the popular levels disappearing and some of the unpopular. So is it a server issue? If it's a server issue, tell us. You know, just say our bad, screw up. You know. We're really sorry. But if you're not communicating with your fans...
Yeah, I mean...
So, I mean, what? Is it because the people are designing too good levels and you're scared of competition? It's like, come on now. And that's the type of stuff... That's the type of silly things that people start saying because you don't communicate the reason behind it.
Yeah, I mean...
if you're making, like, you know, penis shapes in your level, I could understand the deletion, but you're not doing that.
Yeah, but... You can't release a creation tool like Mario Maker and get surprised when people draw cocks out of coins.
Well, you can understand Nintendo deleting it though, especially if it's rated a certain thing. I could understand that. I could actually be behind that.
I'm not saying they're wrong to delete. I'm just saying like it's hardly a surprise that those exist. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Anyway, shall we? Yeah.
I mean, is that all the pattern show? Just that they've got this customizable controller thing. Okay. All right. Is there any word at all on when they're going to be announcing what this thing is?
Ruffle stomps.
Fair enough.
It's going to be released in March, don't you know?
Allegedly, yeah. Yeah, so I've got a couple of things on my end. One thing that happened before I left is that Quantum Break was confirmed for a Steam release, which is pretty awesome.
Well, you know why? It did really well on Windows Store, so what they needed was like to show Steam.
So yeah, we don't need you, and because reasons we're putting on Steam Store.
You know what's really weird? They've confirmed that they're not going to have the DX11 version on Windows 10.
How do you mean? Sorry, I don't understand.
So you won't be able to run. They're not going to update Quantum Break on Windows 10 Store to allow you to have Windows DirectX 11.
Why? That's weird. I mean, because okay, if you have used Windows 10, you have to use DX12.
Yeah. Although I can kind of understand it because theoretically there's not going to be a performance disadvantage.
I
but
guess
it's just a bit weird.
I mean, I can understand not pushing it as a feature. That makes sense because obviously DX12 is one of Windows 10 upsides, but you know maybe someone wants to use it because DX12 doesn't work right for them or something. I don't know.
Although what they have said is that all other updates will happen. So basically.
Yeah, I mean it literally is the game with all the patches and stuff that they've released already, but on Steam. So. They did say they'll be bringing out all their games on Steam, and it seems like they're holding true to that at least for now. Obviously, there's quite some time after the original release, but still, it's good that it's coming out all on Steam because all I heard about the PC release of Quantum Break was how much of a mess it was and how much UWP was basically just like pillaging it from inside.
Well,
so
it doesn't look a good pillaging.
Yeah, it's true. Also, today, and you can go and watch my video on this if you want the full explanation and lengthy discussion and whatnot, Final Fantasy 15 has been delayed again.
I'm actually okay with that.
I'm always okay with a delay because look, I'd rather wait a couple of months or whatever and have a more complete product at the end of it than have them rush it out and it be bollocks when it comes out.
The problem I've got is like if you delay it, you're facing a lot of competition. So my concern is, like, have they... Are they a little worried that they're going to be underperforming with sales?
I don't know, I mean... Tabata released a video with a very lengthy explanation, and again, go watch the video if you want the full thing. But basically, they were saying that, look, you know, they got the sort of master version of the game, and then they were going to basically release a day one patch to bring it up to where they think it should be, which is pretty standard practice these days, obviously. But then they kind of were like, but what if people don't have the day one patch? Because, you know, plenty of people will not even know there's a day one patch at all if their console isn't connected to the internet or whatever, and they'll just play the game in this quote-unquote subpar state and think poorly of it when really they're just missing the day one patch. So like, okay, we want everyone to have the same experience, basically, so let's just delay it. And I'm like, okay, that all sounds real pretty and flowery, but it concerns me that this late in the game you're so unconfident in the product without a patch. Like, it's like, what is it like without that? You know?
Well, to be fair, it's kind of normal.
I know, I'm just concerned that, you know, this game, because it spent so long in development, I'm just worried that last minute they're like, oh crap, the base product is not good enough, we better delay it, you know?
You know, there are some who are speculating, because I was reading several Twitter threads, which is a dangerous thing to do.
It is.
And some are speculating that we could even see it delayed again.
Yeah, I would not be surprised.
And the primary reason that people are thinking it could be delayed again is so it can go to, like, February, where there's less, you know, of a danger zone. Like, danger, Will Robinson, danger!
Yeah, I mean, they've pushed it to, like, late November, I believe, and that's a busy period.
Yeah, because you've got the Battlefield, you've got the CODs,
November
everything.
is basically the month of death, because there's so many games coming out in that time period.
The problem is with that, it's like, let's say that you can afford the game. Let's say you can afford everything. Are you really going to want to sink 100 hours into an RPG when it's everything else? It's like, fair enough, if that's one of the few games you're interested in.
It's Final Fantasy, and it's been developed and hyped for years. This game has been in development for such a long time. You know, it was originally supposed to be on the PS3 as a Final Fantasy 13 spin-off, for fuck's sake.
Really?
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
It was, what was it originally called? Final Fantasy 13 Versus or something like that. And it was going to be a PS3 exclusive. And obviously we all know how that happened. And eventually it became Final Fantasy 15 after a lengthy period of nothing happening.
We're laughing because Clyde, Amy's cat, is like trying to shred at this...
Well, there's a little moth sort of flying around and sort of lightly batting it with his paw, like...
They can't see that.
Yeah, I know. But I'm sure they get the idea.
Yeah. He's being fierce.
He is very fierce.
He's a hunter.
Yeah, so, that kind of sucks. I just hope the game is good. I'm just a bit concerned about this delay so late in the game, is all. We'll see. Hey, if they want to delay it to bring it out on PC, then that's the real reason, but they don't want to say for some reason, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I mean...
They won't, but I can dream.
Well, hey, it couldn't be worse than No Man's Sky.
What's happened with No Man's Sky?
Oh, you've not heard?
No, I literally got back, like, this afternoon, so...
I was having a conversation with Total Biscuit on Twitter.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, alright.
And, basically... He said, oh dear, the performance. So he was releasing like a port report on it.
Yeah.
So I said, true or false, Adobe Premiere is probably rendering frames faster than No Man's Sky.
Alright,
so he responded in something like, Adobe Premiere at the moment is kicking its ass.
Nice.
So anyway, basically...
Marta here outside of the podcast. Unfortunately, the audio for this section, for some reason, completely bogged and is blank until the very end, so apologies. You did miss out on a huge amount. Just Paul talking about how in No Man's Sky they had to rewrite the shader cache and had to work on getting CPUs without SSC working and a bunch of other stuff. Basically, the PC version was a mess, and Paul was just detailing how that was. Apologies for the loss, guys. Not really much I can do, unfortunately, so yeah, enjoy the rest.
Anyways, I think we're kind of running a little bit over schedule.
Yeah, we are a bit, and obviously I'm very tired from my shenanigans over the weekend, so yeah.
And Clyde's also going hyper for some reason.
Yeah, he's decided he wants to attack everything, so...
Alright, well, I'm gonna get going.
Alright, well, thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye!
Pretty much.
Oi!